All right, what we're doing here is collecting tinder. Now, tinder is a bit difficult to collect in the rainforest if you don't know what you're doing. We happen to find what appears to be a dead Spanish cedar tree here. It is really, on the outside, it appears to be old, wet, and dry rotted. But a few whacks with a bone breacher and I was able to collect some of the dry wood that should be very good. You can see the difference here. On the outside, it's going to be wet, rotten, very humid. But on the inside, where it's not rotten and the pores are closed, it's actually very dry and should make a good firewood as long as I continue to do the rest of the work that I need to do. So if you haven't gathered by now, this is the newest episode of my survival series, and we're going to be discussing fire. I'll show you a book that I wrote on fire here in a few minutes, but right now, what we're doing is collecting tinder. And it's important to know your area, where you're at ahead of time, at all times. I should know where I'm at, right? Well, know a little bit about it. What type of trees are around? What's the humidity level? Is the ground always wet because it's a rainforest? Does it rain all the time? So what I'm looking for is, I'm going to be searching for maybe moss up in the trees that's hanging and not touching that's kind of mid-level, not in the rainforest canopy, but also not touching the ground. So it's going to dry out very quickly. After the morning dew dries, then I can find stuff like moss or, palm fronds, stuff like that. Very thin, very dry, very brittle and easy to break up. So I can make a tinder bundle. And from there, we're going to discuss fire starting tools, primitive fire, and lots of things of that nature. But first things first, we're on our trek. Our area of operation happens to be the dense jungle rainforests and cloud forests of Central America. And one of the ways that we can find tinder is by finding dry wood on the inside of dead fallen trees, and by finding things, not a leaf like this, because a leaf like this is too thick and heavy duty. It's not going to catch very well. We want to find very thin, very dry, very light and airy, because it's all about surface area with tinder. It's about being dry and surface area. There's three things you need to know about fire, because there's three things that it takes to start a fire. It's oxygen, heat, and fuel. The fuel, you start with the very most combustible things that you can have. In your natural environment, it's usually what we call tinder. From there, you go to bigger, harder pieces of wood, stuff that's harder to burn once you have that heat going. And then you can actually control the speed of the fire by burning things that are like this. If I were to put this whole piece here or start the fire on top of this old Spanish cedar stump, it would burn for a long time. I'd just have to make sure that I kept the fire going. And then I would pretty much always have coals, even if I let the fire go out during the day, and I could use the coals and the embers to start the fire the next night. All right. We'll discuss as well in this video why we would want a fire, or why we would need a fire as well. And I'll show you the chapter of fire, and I'll reference it to my new book. But right now we're still doing work and getting everything prepped up and ready. We found a location where we're going to start the fire behind me, close to a water source. There's a river flowing through here. This would be a great spot to camp. I would want to camp a little bit on higher ground that I found over here. There's no big large trees that could fall on top of me while I'm sleeping if a wind or storm comes up, but I'm also pretty covered, very close to a game trail for the ability to hunt, very close to the water source as well for the ability to hunt, but in an area that's defensible and off of the game trail enough to where with a fire, I can have a little bit of security that maybe an animal's not going to attack me, because we are in jaguar territory. But let's keep doing the work. what I'm eventually gonna want to create from this Spanish cedar is the thinnest, smallest little shards that I can. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But this really increases the surface area and will hopefully give me the fuel that I need to start a fire in the easiest way possible. Now, to make my work easier, I'm going to use this as a platform to start the fire. I'm going to clean off the wet exterior, and then I'll have a nice dry base and something to work with. The rest of the prep work I'm going to do with my Bloody Bill Bowie. All right, we're gonna give it a little go right now. We've got our tinder here. I've done some shavings with the Bloody Bill Rambo, one of our Rambo knives. We've got some of the stuff we collected from the foliage. We've got some shavings that we got from the ground. You guys saw how we collected this. We've got some larger fuel here just in case this goes up. There's several different fire starters in the pack here. The first thing I'll do is give you guys a brief overview of the Bone Tactical Survival Guide here that comes with the Bone Tactical Survival Kit now. All right, we're going chapter by chapter. So this is episode 3, which is fire. We've got fire starting guide here on page 10. And basically we go over the fire triangle, the why fire is important, how fire can save your life because of the ability to create warmth in cold areas. You can smoke your meat to make it last longer. You can cook your meat, cook a lot of different things that are not necessarily edible on their own. You can even, make tea from leaves that has medicinal purposes. Talk about collecting tinder. We talk about making char cloth, and we talk really basically about all of the real skills that you need and why you should practice and how you can do it. And that's the fire section. I will show you what fire stuff comes with the bag, and also how to use it. And I will, this is my personal kit that I sell on my website and that I use as well. And I'll show you why I recommend this kit. And I'll show you, how it works. I'll give you some other options, but this is kind of the most basic and my recommended option here. I like using the EDC Relentless knife as a striker. And this, of course, comes with the kit. So I've got my microphone attached. Otherwise, I would have this worn around my neck, but I'm not going to wear it just because of the microphone. And I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying. If I was in a real survival situation, I would be wearing this as a neck knife. But if I wear it as a neck knife right now, it's going to rub all over my microphone. So there are basically 3 different fire starters here represented. We've got one fire starter here that every bag comes with. And then the other bags will either come with the paracord bracelet already on the water bottle that has the ferro rod built in, or it'll come with the bracelet separately in a different style water bottle. But the idea is the same, using the EDC Relentless as a striker. And again, the EDC, this fire tool has a whistle and various other tools built into it. A compass as well, but right now, since we're discussing fire, I'm going to be using it as a fire starter. All right, guys, what you've got here is a little fire that we've got going, and we did it with just the components in the bug out bag, as you saw. Everything here is soaking wet. We're in the rainforest. It's hot, and I didn't really need to start a fire necessarily because I had the water filter and don't have to cook any food right this second, but wanted to show you guys that even in the hardest conditions to start a fire, where we're here next to a river in a rainforest, everything's absolutely soaking wet. There's really, it was a little bit of a challenge, but we got it done. And that's why something like the fire starter that comes in that bag, a ferro rod fire starter, that's why it's so effective, right? Because a ferro rod fire starter doesn't go bad. It doesn't get damaged when it gets wet. You know, so I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I don't have to worry about it cracking or breaking or running out of fluid or anything like that, right? So it's something that I'll always have. It's always ready. It's in my bag when I need it. And I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. This is the fire episode, and we're going to be moving on now to some other episodes and filming some other episodes, showcasing the Bone Tactical camouflage out here. It's the most effective camouflage in the world right now, in my opinion. And if you can't tell by watching the video how this camouflage just unbelievably blends in the environment that I'm in here, and then really pretty much into the widest array of environments available, then I don't know what to tell you. But you should be able to see on your own how effective this camouflage is. And fire, ultimate bug out survival bag, ultimate survival bug out bag from Bone Tactical. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching. There are a few other options for starting fires out there in the world, but kind of this is the rundown, and you can study up from here on yourself. Bone out.